Our very first time at the Grand Ole Opry was something I will never forget.
I was so scared. I was so nervous because when you perform live, usually it's dark and you have a spotlight on you, so you can't really see everybody's face. But at the Opry, everybody's lit up.
There's nothing like the Grand Ole Opry.
It is the most important place in country music.
It's just a really, really neat place to work. I think I have the best job in the world. Don't tell everybody that.
It's just my happy place. I just love being here.
Happy 100 Opry.
The Grand Ole Opry has held strong for 100 years, outliving trends, venues, and even disasters. But what's kept this institution's heartbeat enduring is a family connected to the same timeless love for country music. Newbies nervously cling to their guitar cases as they make their way to the dressing rooms, while veterans swap stories in the halls. And as the curtain rises at 7 p.m. sharp each night, the Circle of Wood center stage reminds fans that every performance is part of a century-long story still being written.
I first came to the Grand Ole Opry when I was 5 years old with my mom and dad.
Dan Rogers is the executive producer of the Grand Ole Opry. His office door opens to the hum of talent, publicists, entourages, and bandmates backstage.
It's been the honor of a lifetime to be here and to help, along with lots of other great people, steer this ship, and an even bigger one to be here for its centennial year.
Sometimes he makes his way to the theater's wings, keeping a watchful eye over the production.
Stressful times in the job are usually also the really exciting times in the job. Like when at the end of the night or the next morning you think, holy crap, I got to be a part of that. Like I will never forget that having happened.
Would you welcome Dan Rogers?
There are rare moments when he steps into the limelight to address the country music congregation packed into red cushioned pews, like one night to honor the legacy of legend Jeannie Seely, who died in August of 2025.
She didn't just blaze a trail. She walked back and forth on it, keeping it clear, guiding generations who followed through it.
Jeannie's dressing room number 16 sits quiet, but her legacy continues to live on. And as Dan reflects on the past, his train of thought includes the future.
When we were looking at how to celebrate 100 years, truly over and over, I kept going back to bedrocks of what I thought it should be. One, how do we celebrate the people and the music that made sure we made it to 100 years, but also what do we do in this 100th year to ensure as best we can that they're celebrating a 200th birthday of the Grand Ole Opry.
From Nashville, Tennessee, Prince Albert, the world's most popular smoking tobacco, brings you the South's most popular program, the Grand Ole Opry.
There wouldn't be an Opry without Nashville, and Nashville truly would not be the city it is today without the Opry.
The Grand Ole Opry hasn't always called this venue on the east side of the Cumberland River home. Its roots stretch to a small radio studio in downtown Nashville.
The Opry started on November 28, 1925 at the WSM studios.
Byron Fay is the Opry historian. His lifelong hobby has been to keep meticulous records. He says the Opry story begins with the National Life and Accident Insurance Company. Its Nashville office opened a small studio that transmitted its first show from two 165-foot towers. The front page of the Tennessean shared the achievement.
WSM went on the air in October of that year, and then the first part of November they hired a gentleman by the name of George D. Hay, whose title was that of radio director.
The first broadcast was simple. Founder George D. Hay invited Uncle Jimmy Thompson to fiddle for an hour.
That was it.
Hay brought in more musicians and started each program by blowing an imitation steamboat whistle. The show is called the WSM Barn Dance, and employees packed the insurance office hallway to watch the show live through a window. Some of the first acts included Uncle Jimmy Thompson, Dr. Humphrey Bate, and D. Ford Bailey.
I was truly impressed at D. Ford Bailey. You know, it was really, the Opry got started in 1925. And then in 1926, they brought D. Ford Bailey in, which is a black man, and it's like, what? Okay, that was powerful to me. That stood out and made me want to be and pay attention to the Grand Ole Opry.
The barn dance evolved into the Grand Ole Opry, with the name coming by accident.
WSM Radio was playing a program of opera music, and when the program ended, Judge Hay got on the microphone and, paraphrasing his words, said, "You've been listening for the last hour to the opera, Grand Opera. From this moment on, you'll be listening to the Grand Ole Opry."
In 1928, WSM constructed an 870-foot broadcast tower in Brentwood, Tennessee. The Opry moved in 1934 to Hillsborough Theater, and then to the Dixie Tabernacle in 1936, and War Memorial Auditorium in 1939.
The Opry just didn't fit in there. The crowd just wasn't what War Memorial wanted.
In 1943, the Opry found a better fit, the Ryman Auditorium.
It started the golden years of the Opry.
The Mother Church of Country Music could hold thousands. Lines wrapped around downtown Nashville. By this point, more than 50 members had been inducted into the Opry fold.
My first memories of coming to the Opry were actually when the Opry was at the old Ryman. Especially in the summer, no air conditioning back then, and everybody had these funeral home fans with Jesus and holding a little lamb and his little flock, and they were so sweet.
Singer Pam Tillis saw the Opry as a wide-eyed little girl supporting her dad and country legend Mel Tillis, among other stars.
I saw Tammy Wynette sing at the Grand Ole Opry, and I was little. Maybe I was 8, 9, 10, somewhere in that. And you know what you like as a kid, but still, I just knew that she was excellent. That's what I understood.
The fans that came to the Opry then, they were just very passionate because they would wait out on the street to get into the Ryman Auditorium. I mean, they would line up all day long, a lot of times on Saturday. And it was just a different feel.
Linda Brady Tankersley first came to Nashville in the 1960s to work for National Life.
They would give us free tickets to go to the Opry. It was at the Ryman at that time, and a lot of times we would go on Friday night.
A decade later, she signed on as an usher, a role she's had for more than 50 years.
And I'm honored to be the longest serving usher of the longest running radio show in the world.
Very first performance at the Opry. Well, Dottie West, the late great Dottie West, we miss you, Dorothy, brought me to town in 1971 to write songs for her. She brought us to be on a record with her for RCA Victor Records and put us on the Opry to sing some backup with her. So maybe 1970. It was in the summer. It was really hot.
Beyond the heat, the Gatlin brothers recall the first voice that boomed through the auditorium.
I remember Bill Anderson was the first person that I heard when we walked into the back of the Ryman. He was singing, and I've talked to Bill about that since then.
Say all the musicians would line up in the hall, the very narrow hall in the back of the Ryman, and an artist would come through if they didn't have their band that night. They'd just go, yeah, I'm gonna need you, buddy, on fiddle. I'm gonna need you on, come on out and play some dobro. Everybody knew the hit parade, and those crack musicians, they knew all the songs.
The Ryman, over time, outlived its usefulness, as did downtown Nashville. And in the late 60s, the Opry started looking at building a new facility or moving somewhere else.
The decision to leave downtown Nashville split the Opry family. Some stars clung to the Ryman's historic charm. Others longed for an upgraded space with more room. In 1974, the Opry House, that seats 4,372 patrons, opened. 4 years later, the Opry was televised as part of a PBS fundraiser.
I know one of the Opry members said one time when they thought they would try to get it televised, man, you're gonna lose the cool factor of the Grand Ole Opry that you can only get it on radio, but it hasn't.
People were comfortable. The seats had cushions on the pews, improved lighting, improved sound, and the Opry fit right in.
The new venue came with 18 dressing rooms, now all with unique themes and tributes. Number 1 honors country star Roy Acuff. Number 3 is for Little Jimmy Dickens. Number 16 pays respect to Minnie Pearl.
I personally think it's one of the most beautiful backstages in the country and probably the world. If I traveled and seen more, I could probably still say that, but it's very welcoming, very unique.
Stacy Thompson is one of the tour guides for the Opry and gives anywhere from 29 to 40 tours every day. She, like so many of the workers, started years ago and couldn't leave.
I was going to MTSU for music business and marketing, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I could work at the Opry while I'm in college? And so I got a job here part-time as a tour guide, and then by the time I finished college, they offered me a supervisor position, and then I've moved up until I'm a senior manager of the tour department now.
And 1, 2, 3.
The new Opry House may have been an upgrade, but the most important addition was bringing over part of the original Ryman stage to form the circle.
I remember going there as a kid. We used to take our summer vacations here in Nashville when I was in school, and we couldn't afford very good seats, so we always sat in the nosebleed, and I would look down at that circle, never even dreaming that one day I'd be standing there. It was the furthest thing from my mind, but I think all that hit me at once, and it was very emotional for me.
Yeah, me too. Just growing up in Ohio, listening to it on the radio, my grandmother and stuff, and then just to be able to be standing in that, I mean, it's just iconic. It's heroic, and just, you got to pinch yourself.
I just wanted to be on that stage so badly. That was a dream, being a member of the Grand Ole Opry. That's it. And then when I became a member in '99, I remember walking out on that hallowed ground, that piece of round wood, and singing "Sweet Dreams" a cappella. And my record label MCA, they had arranged for Patsy Cline's family to give me an heirloom of Patsy, so I got a necklace of hers that she used to wear, and it's in a case. I used to break it out of the case and wear it on the Opry, but now I'm more precious about it.
A sacred place that the 74 living members never take for granted.
You almost can't fathom who has stood there. Like, I think about all of the people that have influenced me, from Dolly to Jeannie Seeley to Patsy Cline to Loretta to Winona to Trisha Yearwood to Reba. It's a wild feeling to think anybody who has ever had an impact on our genre over 100 years have stood in that circle. And just to think I was a little girl from Kentucky dreaming of what it would be like to be in that circle, and now it's kind of something I do often. It's a very important thing to get to step in that circle, and I never did before I got to sing on the stage. I wouldn't, because I didn't deserve it.
If these walls could talk, the stories they would tell.
That's been one of my favorite things, is to be able to see the people, be introduced to people that I have heard and admired for years, and to see that they are just natural people,
One of my favorites here is Vince Gill. He comes over and he'll just come sit stage right over there next to my area, and he loves to just come out there and sit and watch the entertainment just like anybody else.
And I do want to let you guys see another photo over this way. If you want to keep moving, we'll be this way.
While visitors tour throughout the day, workers arrive midday to prepare for the nightly shows. Artists enter through a back entrance where they pass a fountain honoring comedian Minnie Pearl. They're greeted by Jimmy Schermerhorn, who's been a security guard for 34 years.
My job is to welcome the artists and check them in and assign their dressing rooms.
Artists pick up fan mail.
You can write us to an artist here, and you don't need a lot of information. All you need to do is put their name, Grand Ole Opry, Nashville, Tennessee, and it will come to us, and we'll make sure that they get it. Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood, they have informed me that they are never to be in this building and not get their mail. Brad Paisley's dad comes and picks up his mail. Keith Urban, when he gets his mail, he sorts it out by size. He'll open each letter, read them, he'll make notes on the envelope, and he writes folks back.
Once they're in a dressing room, Diana McBride, who goes by Lemonade, prepares refreshments.
So I started making lemonade and tea, and everybody just loved the lemonade. So one night, Mike Snyder was coming in, and I had just set everything up in the green room, and I was going back down the hall, and he was coming in behind me, and he loved the lemonade. And so he wanted to know if I'd set the stuff out yet. So instead of hollering out my name, he said, "Hey, lemonade." And I turned around and I said, "Yes, Mike, the lemonade is out." And my boss overheard him. And so about 2 weeks later, she come to me and she said, "Oh, I've got a new name tag for you." I said, "You do? I didn't know mine was broke." And she handed it to me and it said lemonade.
Some artists will rehearse with the band beforehand.
There's a great deal of trust that artists give to the Opry band because they don't know us frequently. They'll be playing with us for, close to the first or second time, and we are providing them a foundation of bedrock for what they do up front.
Senior stage manager Tyler Bryan runs through the scripts up until the curtain rises.
We have had as many as 2 or 3 rundown changes in a day.
Marcia Campbell puts on her clogging shoes.
Still to this day, I get nervous. I get so nervous that I'm gonna forget something or I'm gonna mess up, and I've been here almost 40 years, but I'm still so nervous.
The doors open and Brady guides patrons to their seats.
It's timeless, and it is an American tradition that you would like for everybody to experience.
And then the curtain rises at 7 p.m. The first sound is feet tapping. Country stars make their way to the stage.
When you perform live, usually it's dark and you have a spotlight on you, so you can't really see everybody's face. But at the Opry, everybody's lit up, so you see every single person out there. And I was pretty new. I had not been in front of, that was a lot. And I know I have a Southern accent and I'm proud of it, but I had a really Southern accent in the early 90s, and I just heard myself out there going, "I'm so scared, y'all. I'm just so nervous," and I wanted to kind of punch myself. But it's a rite of passage.
Still to this day, I mean, we've been Opry members for a long time now, but it's still every single time there's something completely different than any other stage in the world than standing on the Grand Ole Opry stage.
As the night winds down and the pews begin to empty, ushers like Brady send fans home with one last memory.
They've watched the show, they've loved it, but they look at us and they say, "You've got the most wonderful job in the world." And I say, "I sure do."
Through the decades, the Opry has faced its share of challenges.
Well, what happened is very simple. We had just torrential rain, and that rain did not leave up.
But none tested the institution like the flood of 2010.
I was devastated when I saw the pictures. I had been at the Opry a couple weeks before that, and I just could not imagine the destruction, not only here, but Nashville, the loss of lives. It was just terrible.
Crews scrambled to save what they could as floodwaters crept higher. But the show never stopped.
People started wondering, will the Opry continue? It continued on Tuesday night down at War Memorial Auditorium, that the Opry put on a show and continued on and did not miss a Saturday night.
Construction crews resurrected the Opry House and made improvements.
The whole backstage area, the dressing rooms were redone. Obviously the pews and the house was redone.
The next challenge came in 2020.
We ask Tennesseans to be vigilant. If you believe you've been exposed to COVID-19, contact your doctor.
When the world shut down due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Opry persisted.
I would come in the afternoon and be the only person here. The artists would come in one at a time. They would make their way to the stage, do their performance, and then leave.
We didn't have audiences there, but we had musicians that would come, and me and Marty and Vince came and did a show one night, just the three of us, and
that was pretty spooky. You'd finish a song and crickets.
The circle was never broken.
And the Opry sustained itself, and it didn't shut down, it kept it going, and that took commitment.
When God has put something together, storms will come, because that's what helps you understand and appreciate the sun.
So what will be the key to the Opry lasting another 100 years? The answer depends on who you ask. The Gatlin brothers say it's a mix of veteran and new talent.
They're not afraid to try new things. Just like this year, during the 100th year, it's not just one day or one weekend, it's the entire year. And they've brought in new artists, they've brought in younger artists.
Post Malone?
Yeah.
Michael Bublé? Those two that I've mentioned specifically love country music. They say they listen to the Grand Ole Opry when they're out on the road and doing things. So Steve's absolutely right. They're forward looking.
Ricky Skaggs says it's based on the legacy of legends.
There's just a magic that happens out there. There's so much standing on the shoulders of Ernest Tubb, Bill Monroe, Hank Snow, Hank Williams. I mean, all these people that were members of the Grand Ole Opry.
The McCrary sisters point to inclusiveness.
Being received well. Being received well. And if I can't say, you know, because our race and everything, and sometimes you go places and it's not always like that. But just being able to go out and the audience is in tune with you.
I used to hear my dad say that God will give a man a vision and the man will die, but not the vision. So as far as I'm concerned, when the vision was given, it's still going and it's gonna keep going.
But Jimmy says it comes down to one simple factor.
Family. It is absolutely like family.
If I'm alive, I will make sure that my generation and everybody behind me knows it has to stay that special place forever.
People come here from all over the world. This place is always packed. It's hipsters, it's bikers, it's church groups, it's dignitaries from other government, you name it, they're all coming here.
The tight-knit circle doesn't hand out memberships, but once you're in, you're in.
It's a family that is, you know, automatically get to be in. You have to, you know, the Opry has to believe that you understand what the Opry is about. And Porter Wagner was my guy. He was my hero there, and he believed in me. He was my cheerleader. So I just don't take it for granted. It's such an honor to be part of that family.
With each new induction, the circle expands.
I used to work at Dollywood when I was a kid, and I was asked to do a commercial for Dollywood. I was very excited. And I went to Dolly's little compound that she has, and I was shooting this Dolly commercial, and I heard Little High Heels. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? That's gotta be her. And I thought maybe she was gonna do the commercial with me. And if you know about the invitation to be an Opry member, it most times happens on stage. So that wasn't even a thought in my mind because I wasn't on the Opry stage. And Dolly came out and we were talking, and she said, you aren't here today to do a Dolly commercial or Dollywood commercial, you're here today because you're the newest member of the Grand Ole Opry. And truly that was my dream from the time I was 5. That's my greatest joy. And I fell to my knees and sobbed, and she smacked me on the back kind of hard, and she said, well, you can't do it sitting down.
Dan Rogers says the show may have evolved, but the traditions and country music foundations are what will keep the show going on for 100 more years.
I really believe that if Uncle Jimmy Thompson, who was the first person to sit down and play his fiddle on what would become the Grand Ole Opry, if you could bring him to an Opry show or tune in the radio to an Opry show, I think he'd be flabbergasted by what he saw and heard. He'd probably be quite surprised that this thing he played on back in 1925 was still around. But I also really think he would recognize elements of it as well. And I really believe that 100 years from now, people will look back on this year and think, oh my gosh, we're still doing this and we're still doing that.
In Nashville, Brian West, the Tennessean.